As a financial advisor, you are a lead based business. You need to generate leads, you need to follow up with leads, get them into appointments, put them through discovery until they trust you and they become a client. So, as a marketing agency owner, I know, and it's not just guesswork, I know because I've spoken to 300 plus advisors that you have probably had at least a few interactions with a marketing agency, and they may or may not have been positive. Now, what this video is for me to educate you on what makes a good marketing agency versus a bad one and how to spot the difference. And the three patterns that you really need to watch out for in order to pick the best agency for your practice. So let's get started. First of all, why should you listen to me? Well, as I said before, I run an agency for financial advisors. So I'm here to talk about my competitors and what they're doing. And this is completely unbiased. Just because they're my competitors doesn't mean that they run a bad business. But what I will say is I will show you what the different types of models are and my opinions of them. The people I work with have assets under management of anywhere from 20 to $100 million under management typically. And if they're like a CFP and they're working mostly in financial plans, they're dealing with big cases. So they're dealing with business owners that have $1 million plus investable assets or invested in their corporation with profits of $100,000 a year or more from their business. So those are the two sides there. You got wealth management, you got financial planning. Those are the two arms, sort of, and some advisors do both, right? So there are three patterns that I usually tend to spot with an agency that has burned an advisor in the past. And this is kind of a pain in the ass for a person like me because it makes trust building a lot harder as an agency owner when somebody has been burnt in the past. So the first red flag that you should look for is if an agency is sharing leads among advisors. So some agencies, what they do is they generate the cheapest leads possible through either it's Google or Facebook with their advertising, and they don't qualify them whatsoever because they want to get a huge markup on the leads that they sell. But what's even less fair is that they will sell, let's say they have a list of 100 business owners that they generated. They're not going to sell each lead to one advisor. They could sell one lead to 10 advisors. And then you're stuck fighting over this lead, which 10 other advisors are fighting over, and it's just a complete nightmare. If you call them and that person gets angry, this is probably the reason why. So when the lead is opted in through like a Facebook form or whatever, um, all these advisors are going to call them because that's what the agency has instructed them to do. Call as quickly as possible. But the truth is, all of them are calling. So when you go to that agency, you say, "Hey, these leads are not happy to speak to me. They're not looking to speak to me specifically." They're going to tell you, "Well, you got to call quicker." But it's like, hey, they weren't just generated for me. They were generated for other people, apparently. So the lead was doomed from the start. And I want you to keep in mind for the rest of this video that this is a common pattern, that the lead hasn't really opted in to speak with you personally. It's just opted in to speak because of an idea that it saw. It saw some clickbait ad on Facebook and it was like, oh, I can pay less taxes. Okay, boom, let's go. And this doesn't generate good quality leads. Now, the second pattern that you want to look for is if you don't own any of the process. So if the landing page, the CRM, the ad account on the social media platform, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, the email sequence is sent to the prospect after, and the actual creative, so the ads that are being put out, whether it's video or image, are none of your materials, and it's just them doing all of that, then you don't own any of the process. What they've done is they have found a way to generate very high volume of leads with their own system, and then they generate those leads, and then they have a pool of advisors that want leads, and they sell them at a markup to all those advisors. And this isn't necessarily a problem, right? A pay-per-lead model is a model that works, and advisors need leads, and if they're able to be pre-qualified before, sure, sell them to the advisor. But it gets complicated because the advisor will be stuck just negotiating with lead vendors all the time. And you're going to get into discussions like, hey, this person wasn't qualified. And they're going to be like, yes, they were. And this person didn't show. And then they're going to say, well, you didn't call them. After they didn't show, you're supposed to call them twice after they don't show, etc. Everything is tracked, right? But they own the entire process, which makes you have less leverage in that whole conversation. And you can't do anything about it because you don't own your own system. You're simply renting a system from the lead generation agency. And if you stop paying your monthly fee, the system disappears. So if you own nothing, you literally have no power because the pipeline is being generated by them and them only. Now, let's look at the math of this situation. So a lead generation agency that does this, and let's say that you're a CFP and you are looking for business owners, and the business owner lead, if you sell a big insurance policy, it could be worth many tens of thousands of dollars. And so they can charge you $8,000 a month for 8 appointments. I've seen this $1,000 USD per appointment, 8 appointments a month, $8,000 a month. That's $96,000 a year. So what do you get for that? Well, you get 96 appointments. Are they guaranteed to close? Of course not. I mean, they're not in charge of having these leads close. And then you don't own the landing page. You don't own the CRM or the data. So you don't own the leads. The ad accounts access, it's not even your ad account. It's their ad account. They're pumping out their own ads to sell leads to advisors from the production of the leads from the ads. And the creatives aren't yours either. So the people that are opting in, they're not opting in for somebody specific. They're opting in for some sort of promise, and they are passed to you at the end, right? It's not congruent. The process is not congruent. The person at the front making the ads is not going to be the person that you're speaking to at the end of the process. And then what are you left with? Well, hopefully you profit. You are forced to close every single month, or you're $8,000 in the hole. So this puts pressure on the advisor because they can't close, or because they have to close. And if they don't close, then they're in the hole. So typically these types of agencies, the relationship doesn't last long because it's super transactional and there's no growth in it in a partnership type situation. So another red flag in the types of ads that agencies write. So if they are experienced working with advisors, they would know what compliance wants and what they don't want. And we are actually, at Bernardus Agency, we are in touch with every compliance department. Manulife, IG Wealth Management, Sun Life. We're in touch with all these departments across Canada and now going into the US. And here's what some agencies will write, which compliance will definitely say a big no-no to. So first of all, promising returns. Claiming that you're the best advisor here with the most experience, or claiming you're going to get some sort of mostly claims that aren't 100% true, right? Even if you're very good at what you do. Naming different fund projections or recommendations on your advertising. All these promises that may or may not come true, usually compliance doesn't like it. So you have to have some sort of mystery around your claims. Like we may be able to help you add value, add more to your estate than if you didn't have this in place. Or there are strategies out there to help you prevent overpaying tax or plan for tax season, etc. You don't want to say 100% we're going to help you save tax, 100% we're going to get you better returns. Like, you can't say that. So we're in touch with all these compliance departments, and we're able to say the right stuff so that it doesn't get flagged, so the process is faster and you don't get in trouble. If your agency refuses to speak to compliance, they're probably not the right fit. So, in conclusion of that, if your agency has one of these three traits, I wouldn't work with them. If they share lead lists, so if they share the same leads to multiple advisors, wouldn't work with them. If you have no ownership in the process, again, wouldn't work with them. And if they have no case studies, so no real proof of working with advisors and getting them results that are directly applicable to your situation, I wouldn't work with them, because that just means that you're kind of just betting on somebody and you're paying an arm and leg to do it. So I want to quickly show you an example of 3 advisors that are under contract with us, that are currently crushing it, and what a success actually looks like when you're working with a good agency. So these are 3 advisors. They both specialize in different areas of financial services. It overlaps a bit, but I just want to show you these 3 examples to see what success looks like. First of all, Angelo from the Financial Strategies Group, he was able to close $5 million in 3 months. And so we built out his completely done for you ads. So the ads where he is literally in the ads, putting his message out with his ideas and his strategies, and then his landing page with his resources that people get when they fill in his form. And then from there, people book onto his calendar. And we were able to really refine the process to the point where he's got high net worth leads booking onto his calendar almost daily. And within 3 months, he managed to really nail down the sales process and get it down to a T and be able to close lots of business from it. And we have a long-term partnership at this point. Secondly, Vince. So Vince from Manulife Wealth, he was able to close $3 million in 3 months. I think he actually ended up closing more near the end of the 3rd month. But same deal. Dealing with pre-retirees looking to get help with retirement planning and their portfolio and get the best returns possible. And Vince provided the message that everybody should work together in financial planning rather than having siloed teams working on a person's financial plan and portfolio and all these professionals scattering around. So every advisor has a different selling point, right? Whether it's returns, whether it's a financial plan, whether it's estate, succession, insurance, etc. And we will tailor the message exactly to what you sell, and we'll make you look like an industry leader so that you can attract the people that you want into your pipeline. So he closed $3 million in 3 months as well. Now we have Henry. He's a corporate tax specialist, so he deals with business owner cases, helping them prepare for tax season, and specifically corporate-owned life insurance cases is what we specialize on. We're able to get him $75,000 in commission in 3 months, and millions of premium currently in the pipeline. There's some big business owners that came through his ads that we're able to put in front of him, and he's dealing with some very big cases at the moment. So those are just 3 quick examples. If you want to see what actually works, you can book a discovery call with us, and we'll give you more in-depth view of what our system does and how it works. Just a little note here. It is a system that you 100% own. So if you want to own your own system and use it forever so you can scale faster without having to do any more cold calls, networking events, and just have leads book on your calendar in your sleep while you're at your kid's game, having dinner with your family, etc., you need to build a system that you own and stop relying on pay-per-lead or some LinkedIn guru that is going to send cold DMs. You need to build your own system. So if you want to do that, just book a call below. See you guys.